Welcome back to Lovin Dubai show. We are now joined by Lady Mayowa Adegoke, an award-winning TV host, international journalist, as well as being one of the leading media personalities and MCs based here in Dubai. How are you doing?
Great. I'm great. Feels great to be here.
We're so excited to have you. And interesting, what you just said before we went live, you are now the interviewer being interviewed.
I know.
How does the prep change? How does that feel?
I think it's not so much work because you know the drill. I know the drill. But it's an interesting dynamic to be, now on the other side. So feels good, I guess.
Do you have to research yourself, I guess? Because when you're going to interview someone, you research them.
No. I just mentally prepare. Yeah, I think that's it. You don't have, I know everything about myself, I guess.
Well, let's see. I have some...
Oh my gosh, now I'm scared.
No, let's start with who you are and what you do. Give our audience a bit of an insight as to your role here in Dubai.
Thank you. So my name is Mayowa Adegoke. I'm a journalist, TV host. I've been doing journalism for about 10 years now. Wife, mom, author. There's so much to say. But I think one of the things that I love to be known for, that I take pride in, is being a leading African journalist here in the GCC in Dubai, telling African stories for the global audience and telling the stories from here. So I think that's one of the things I really take pride in. And coming to Dubai, honestly, took my career to like a whole new level, being able to represent an entire people, amplify their stories and their voices. So that's one thing I take a lot of pride in.
Amazing. We'll get to some of those stories that have really touched a lot of people shortly. But let's go back. So you've been here for 10 years and you said...
In media for 10 years. In Dubai for 2 years now.
So tell us how your career in journalism actually started.
Started 2013. With Channels Television, Top TV Nigeria. And I started as a blogger. I wanted to be a reporter, but I started as a blogger, writing for the website. 8 months later, they auditioned me for TV. I started presenting the entertainment show, and then gradually grew up to producing the show, then later reading the news. So my career has really taken that upward trajectory. It's been an amazing run, building a brand and just being given that room to grow and expand. And, coming to Dubai just took it like next level. So
being, let's say, for example, producing and having an incredible role in Nigeria, what was it like breaking into the industry here? And was it daunting or was it easy? Were people welcoming?
I wouldn't say it was easy because the first few months was a bit rough when you come into a new place where you don't really know anyone. It's a whole new industry and every industry is different, even though it's media, the culture is different, the processes are different. So coming here, I think the major task was getting access, meeting people, networking, getting access, and knowing what the rules were. Where do I register? What do I register? All of those things. And I think with time, things opened up. And I think Dubai is a really great place in the sense that you get one email somewhere. You don't even have to know them. Just find it somewhere, send an email. Hi, I'm this. I'd like to do this. So I'd say that I got a lot of help. But was it easy? No, but it's definitely worth it.
But it's a whole new graft, right? Because you're in a new city. And you've stayed working, reporting back. Why has that been important to you to kind of tell, let's say, for example, Nigerian and African stories here in Dubai? Why is that important to you?
I'm Nigerian. I'm African. No matter where I go, no matter where I call home, I would always be that. And I think that sticking close to that identity, making sure that I represent my people wherever I go, being a voice and amplifying their voices, for me, that's like my life mission. I'm in media. I'm stuck with media. I love media. So why not use that platform to amplify voices? And Casey, that when it comes to Africa and Nigeria, there's so many negative stories. I feel like the world sometimes is obsessed with the negatives about Africa. I'm looking to change that. Like, guys, wake up. The world is really the same. There's good news. There's great news. There's bad news. Question is, which one are you focusing on? So I'm just here making sure that regardless of any story I tell, I'm also showing the world that there's beauty and there's a lot that's positive about Africa. So yeah, that's important for me.
Well, then if that's the case, let's look at the positive stories. The last one that really touched us was Possible. We had him here in studio.
Yeah.
But talk to us about, let's say, one particular story that you really felt shone a positive light. on Nigeria?
So, quick one, possible story I actually found on Lovin Dubai. I needed to mention that. So, thank you guys for.
Well, not at all, because we get DMs. Luckily, we have this platform that people just send in the video, and then it's thanks to people who were touched by his music that it went viral.
Thank you, people.
Know?
But you guys decided to put it on your platform. And thank you. I've got to say thank you. So, secondly, I think one of the stories that I've done,
and well, even let's look at possible. How did that? You told that story back to Nigeria. How was that received?
Amazingly well. People loved his story. Right. You know, with Nigerian youths, it just shows the resilience and the fact that Nigerian youths all over the world, they've got talent, irrespective of the situations they find themselves in. They've got talent, and we have honest to God Nigerians who are doing fantastically well. So wherever they go, they just bring their light, and that story really gained a lot of traction back home. People love this story, and I'm looking forward to telling more stories about Possible. I'm personally interested in his story, 100%. So I'd reach out and say, hey, do this, do that. This is one way you can go about stuff. So I'm looking forward to him performing on a big stage in Dubai and reporting that.
Amazing. Well, in case you guys missed it, so Possible is a security guard here in Dubai, and someone took a video of him playing piano in his building, and he was just incredibly talented. And so his story has gone, and so the point was to get him more gigs, right?
Yeah.
And is that what's happening?
Well, he almost got on the All Africa Festival. But some issues, circumstances beyond control, he wasn't able to do that. He was present at the show, but wasn't able to perform. Fingers crossed, the next edition next year, he will be on stage. This community is really supportive of him. We're really looking to put him on platforms. So yes, you would definitely hear a lot more about Possible in the African community here in Dubai.
Amazing. And I did interrupt you a second ago, so I want to go back into your...
So that story.
Yes.
So that story would be the story of a Nigerian mom. I don't know if you read it. It was on Khalid Times at some point.
Take us through it.
A Nigerian mom who is married to a cook, both low-income earners, and then she was pregnant, quadruplets, and gave birth a month before due date. So the plan was to go to Nigeria to go deliver because it'd be cheaper, she'd have family, but there was COVID. Well, there's still COVID, but at the time we had all those air restrictions, people couldn't really travel. So she couldn't get a flight back home and gave birth here via emergency. Babies were in ICU. This was a month to due date. So you can imagine all 4 babies in the ICU, they were racking up bills at the hospital.
Wow.
So that was one huge story. These two, this couple didn't have anyone to turn to. So you had a group of Nigerians who came around them trying to help and get support. I think it got on Khalid Times, and that's where it started getting traction. I saw it one time. So the group reached out to me to say, hey, this is one story that we think you should talk about. And definitely that's human angle. I love human angle stories. And for me, that touches my mission to use media for positive, right? So I reported the story, gained a lot of traction. The Nigerian government, the Nigerian people, everyone trying to say, how do we contact these people? How can we help them? And the story started gaining traction, eventually got on CNN Africa. And next thing you know, I'm not sure which article Sheikh Hamdan's handlers saw, and they sorted all the bill, everything.
Wow.
So for me, the fact that I was able to chip in my bit to that point, that's changing someone's life.
That's so powerful.
So they might forget me, but I would never forget them.
And that is literally, that's the positive story of the media here that also is probably less told, but like that's literally what the media's role there was, to get that family help. So well done, that's incredible. But let's, for example, so media reporter, award-winning journalist, mom,
wife,
author.
Yes.
One thing, so for example, we always talk about communities in Dubai. Let's say, for example, I am Irish, so I'll always bring up the Irish community. And I was having a conversation with someone about moving to the UAE and problems that we have. But you have written a book called Moving to the UAE.
Yes, so I
very
wrote
recently,
the book,
by the way.
Yes, was launched just a few months ago. So this book is a collaborative book with 21 other authors, all part of the UAE Black and African community in the UAE, and we came together to document our experiences. So this book really would be the holy grail for anyone of African descent looking to move to the UAE. And why is that important? we need to tell stories from, I'd use the word filter, not prism, because prism might just sound like a big word. But we need to tell it from our angles, because no one can tell our stories better than ourselves. We understand where we come from, the culture, the mannerisms, just the way things are done. And we understand now, having lived here, how things are done here. So we're able to tell people of like minds, of like culture, like experiences, to say, I know where you're coming from. I know where you are coming to. This is how you should toe that part. So I think that's one book that a lot of people would need to get their hands on, because you not only have business people, you have teachers, you have pilots, you have really documents our experience as a community, because you have different people. I, as a journalist, I got to tell my own story, how marriage brought me to Dubai and how I was able to just navigate. And now I'm here. That's a testament to something, right? So that's me telling a story. Plus, I'm writing my own book on that experience. So yes, so much to say. And
so within that book, 21 authors, so different experiences. So you personally document your own experience so people can learn from you. What type of challenges might, for example, someone from Nigeria looking to move to Dubai, what challenges might they face?
Information is the biggest challenge. People don't know. So that's one thing. And in any space where you find that you don't have credible information, it means that you give room for people with funny business to come in that space and pollute it. And we don't want that to happen. We don't want anyone, for instance, anywhere in any part of the world to fall into the wrong hands because they didn't have the right information. So I think all of the challenges can be summarized into one thing: information, resource persons. Who do you go to? Who's the right person to go to? So we, the authors, 22 of all of us who have come together to write this book, we are like your point of contact. So we've put ourselves out there to say, look, we are the good people, right? If you need anything, we've put a book together. If you need more information, we are able to guide you and help you to say, these are the right people to go to. Don't just go anywhere where your money ends up in the wrong place. And a lot of that happens. Okay. So I think that's one important, information and access.
Interesting. Speaking of stories, and I think at the beginning you said that people always kind of consume the negative stories. Yeah. And it's true of all media, I must say. But one of the biggest ones that we covered here was the Hush Puppy story. What was that like, you covering so kind of an international gangster, I guess? Yeah. He had his fame here in Dubai, I think, when he was just posting really lavish stories, but he turned out to be one of the biggest kind of money launderers in the world.
I think there's a Netflix film coming up about it.
And then he was eventually apprehended by the FBI and the UAE in like a joint crazy video where they...
And unfortunately, that Nigerian thing is in that mix.
So this is the thing. What was that like for covering you, to tell the story and also knowing that it sheds a bad light on Nigeria?
On the people. I think that's one of those stories I wish I didn't have to tell, but you just have to do it. And I think that the community came together at the time to say, we do not associate with this. This doesn't represent us. It's just one bad egg. And ever since then, I've also made it a mission to tell more stories about amazing Nigerians. For instance, Chef Izu, for instance, who's a delight in Dubai. I've been able to tell his story to say, hey, he's here, he's doing amazing stuff. So for me, I have to tell Hush Puppy's story. And it's also important to capture the voice of the community to say, we do not associate with that. That's not us, doesn't represent us. So I'm happy I was able to put that narrative around it, because sometimes people just run with the story, Hush Puppy, Nigerian, bad guy, and then bad people. No, that's not the story. It's one bad egg, but we have countless, many other stories. So if you're looking for more positive Nigerian stories, you know who to come to.
Well, speaking of positive Nigerian stories, before we finish up, you were actually named one of 12 inspiring and entrepreneurial women in the UAE in 2021 by the UAE African Networking Group. That's incredible. So before we finish up, how does that feel to be really spreading the positive stories and the good stories of the Nigerian community?
First, I must say I'm honored. And sometimes when you see, like I was pretty much putting together my profile a few days ago, and writing that, I think someone would read that and be like, wow, she's so amazing. And
it's impressive. It's impressive.
Thank you. But I think for me, I then realized like, okay, a lot has happened, because you just live your life one day at a time. You really don't see what you're doing, except at some point in the future, you look back and it's like, wow, she's amazing. But for me, I was just doing my stuff one day at a time. So for the UAE African Networking Group to come together to say, of all the people in the community, Mayowa deserves a spot in this place. it's like a nod to say, wow, I'm doing something great. And it's an encouragement to say you can do better, you can do more. Because at times, no matter how fantastic you love your job, right? There are days when you maybe feel discouraged, you may feel exhausted, you may feel, you know what, why am I not some rich woman who just sits in the house, take a holiday every 6 months? So there are times where you get discouraged, but when you see recognition like that, you're given that push to keep going. There's a lot of work to be done. And let me just take this opportunity to say, there's room for more people, more African media people, more journalists. There's room here in Dubai, there's room in the Middle East to come in and take, because I feel overwhelmed now. There's so much going on. Wow. I need more people to come. Yeah. We need more people.
That's amazing. Like, I love that you're inclusive, you're gathering people to tell better stories, and I just think it's what you're doing is so positive. And even just listening to you today and how you share the positive and the good stories, it's just fantastic. Good, happy media people, it is a thing. And I want to call you Lady Mayowa because that's your Instagram handle.
Yes, please.
This is what I think you're saying, that I was like, but that's not, I was like, what do I call you? But if people want to get in touch with you, if people want information about your book or your new coming book, how can they reach out to you?
Social. I feel like I live on Instagram. So it's very easy to find me on Instagram. It's at the Lady Mayowa. I'm sure Lovin Dubai has it somewhere on their page. So yeah, you can reach out to me. Feel free to DM, and I respond to DMs, you know. So yeah, that's the easiest way.
Okay. Guys, that is it for us. Thank you so much, the Lady Mayowa, for being such a positive light of inspiration here in the UAE in media. Guys, that is it for us on the Lovin Dubai show. We're back with you every single weekday morning, same time, same place. Stay safe and wash your hands. Bye-bye.